and here we go. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to you from chilly Chicago and a happy 2025. My name is Margaret Resce Milkint, and I am the chair of the Women in Insurance Initiative, and we are here for our New Year meetup. We are going to talk about what happened in 2024, but more importantly, what's going to be happening in 2025. So, for those of you who are just joining us as a first timer, we are so happy you're here. We want you to know this is a safe place. This is a place where we learn from each other, where we have a bit of fun, where we can express ourselves, use our voices, take a moment, kind of like a spa experience, and do something for us. So, with that, let me continue my welcome and let's move to the next slide. So, this is just a little bit about who we are. We're an affiliate of Million Women Mentors, STEM Connector. They power us, and we are dedicated to the women of insurance who are STEM. And we can argue that's all of us because insurance is STEM. And we're very focused on action. We're all about measurable action, goals, initiatives, collaboration, really pulling people together. So it's all about learning, growing, continuous improvement, and action. That's what we have in common. Next slide, please. And here's our network of leaders. I love to call out those great leaders who really are the wind beneath our wings. Accord, Omnia Paratus, Marsh, Plus Ultra, the Actuarial Foundation, Ryan Specialty Group, Verisk, Diversified Search Group, and hopefully you. We are so happy to have you here today. And if you'd like to be a part of this network formally, please let us know. Drop it into the chat. We'd be very, very happy to continue the dialogue, and you'll see what we do. So we've got a jam-packed agenda, and I think it's a fun one. We have a committee update from Laura Deutscher, who is our Red Hot Catalyst Committee Chair. We're going to be talking about our pod community, and it's so great that this is National Mentoring Month, and we are ready to do our soft launch of pod, so stay tuned for that. And then really the anchor and the keynote for this meeting is our fireside chat with the amazing, the powerful, the inspiring Amy Cooper and Michelle Raue. Thank you both for joining us today, and a warm welcome from WII. So let's get this party going, and let's talk a little bit about why we're here, what we're doing, and setting the tone. And we like this Whoopi Goldberg quote, we're here for a reason. I believe a bit of the reason is to throw little torches out to lead people through the dark. And that really says it all. Insurance has been more in the news over the last 15 days than it has been in a long time. And we are very, very cognizant that we are all feeling every single emotion right now. We're excited about the new year. We're fearful. We feel the pressure. We feel the energy. We feel the pain of the people out in California and those wildfires. And our industry is serving the mission, keeping the promise, and all eyes are on insurance right now. So please know that this is the safe spot for you right now. We are aware that there's a lot happening. I think we all feel it on our shoulders. And I wanted to take, a moment, just to set the stage, a year in review, what we've done as women, people of action, as we've navigated our evolving landscape. And whatever words we use to call what we do, There is nothing more important than making change, growing, getting to the next level, lifting each other up. That's what we're all about. So let's move to the next slide. So as I said, it is National Mentoring Month, and we mentor each other every day. We're mentors, we're mentees, we peer mentor, we micro mentor. We're mentoring all the time, but January is the month that we celebrate it. That is something that is core to this group, and I know core to all of you today, and maybe part of the reason why you joined us here today. So I want to talk about the landscape a bit in this happy new year of 2025, which is hard to believe. I don't know about you, but if the last 15 days are any indication of the pace of growth and change, energy, I think we are in for another wild ride, everybody. So I took a moment and I wanted to do a little bit of a year in review for you. And some of these things are going to feel near and dear to your heart. Some of them maybe you haven't thought about, but it was a roller coaster ride last year, and you all know that. And it was a macro and a micro ride. We had inflation. We had economic uncertainty. There was a lot of M&A activity. And of course, geopolitical issues and risk. We have more interconnectivity than we've ever had before, and supply chain shortages continued. On the talent front, we saw everything. I mean, everything from labor shortages to downsizing, to restructuring, to reskilling. We're watching the workforce change as we speak. We're seeing the rise of the next generation, and we saw the birth of the beta generation. This is a time of redefinition. It's a time of change, and we've got it all. We've got workplaces that we've never had before. We have fully remote. We have hybrid. We have back to office. And we have probably a little bit of in between. And there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise, everybody. The revolution of AI is upon us, and it's intensifying, and it's exciting, and it's scary. And hold on and get ready and be part of it. And this is what we do here. This is what we do, all of these things. We are modern leaders. We face all of these every day in the ecosystem that we operate in. And we hope that in our work and our mission to walk with you, to serve with you, to lead with you, to teach with you, to mentor with you, that we can make a difference in the industry. And I'd like to say in the world. So the next slide talks a little bit about what the archetype is of a modern leader. And these slides are available for you to share with your teams, for yourself as a visual. That's our gift to you. Really, you've got to be all of this. You know, I use the Swiss Army knife analogy quite a bit, but really we all need to be Swiss Army knives. My dad had one he carried in his pocket all the time, and I was always fascinated with it, and I still am. We need to have all these tools in our toolkit. We need to expand our toolkits. We need to be ready. We need to be agile. We need to be nimble. And the modern insurance leader really typifies all of these: the fluidity, the authenticity, the kindness, the empathy, the courage, the storytelling. These are things that we practice and we celebrate and we nurture and we cultivate in this safe space. So I saw something pop on my screen. We will share these slides with you after the meeting. So you've signed up, you're going to get the slides, and I hope that they're helpful. I hope this anchors our discussion today. So we go forth maybe a little more fortified, maybe a little more unified, maybe feeling that we've got lift together, that we can lock arms in a virtual way, of course, but hopefully in person too. So with that, I want to turn over to Laura Deutscher, who is the chair of our Catalyst Committee, and I'm going to make her a little embarrassed and her team a little embarrassed in a good way. They deserve a lot of recognition. I had a wonderful dinner with Laura a few years ago, and I said, Laura, we really need you. We need your energy. We need your heart. We need your spirit. You are a warrior, and you are. And the Catalyst Committee was born. And really, from action, awareness, fun, lift, energy, innovation, you've really done it. And you're going to keep doing it. But we want to say thank you to the Catalyst Committee, Laura. We know that you pulled in your beautiful network and have such an inclusive and expansive reach. So tell us what you've done. Tell us what we're going to be looking forward to in 2025. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Margaret. And I'll always appreciate our dinner in New York where you asked me to do this and I didn't know what I was signing up for, but we've all been in that situation, right? Someone asks you to do something, you're like, I want to make a difference. Let's do something. So it was definitely not just me. The work that was delivered for the Catalyst Committee over the last year has been an incredible team effort, and many of those folks are on this call, and we're looking and are excited for our second year for the Catalyst Committee. For those who are new to Women in Insurance, and this is your first call, welcome. To those who have been part of our journey for the last year or couple years, hello and Happy New Year. Happy Mentoring Month. I've been so excited for this session and to hear what Margaret and Michelle and Amy have to say. I will tell you, I stalked Amy at an event this fall because I had been impressed by what she was doing with Rise. It was so worthwhile to meet in real life. You know, we don't all get to do that, but look forward to hearing what she has to say and what Rise is going on. And Michelle, I'm so glad to have you part of the Catalyst leadership team going forward for the second work stream. But a quick update. Last year, we focused on 2 work streams, and we had an overall theme as we got into the work we're going to do. We are all doing this, as we say, on the side of our desk. We have full-time jobs, and we are involved in Women in Insurance, involved in the Catalyst Committee because DEIB is important to us. And so we have to recognize that. And so some of our themes and mantra is progress over perfection. A lot of us are perfectionists and we just have to let that go sometimes and just take steps forward, get where we can, and every progress is important. So that's kind of an overriding theme in the work that we've done. And that we will go farther together, that each of us individually, each of our organizations, each of the associations we're involved with, if we partner together, we will go farther, faster, and we do not need to recreate the wheel. So the 2 work streams that we focused on in last year were a day of action to try and get the word out about insurance. It is a noble profession that a lot of people fall into. It's not that they seek out. And so we have a PR problem. And then we need to focus and get the word out of all the amazing opportunities that are in insurance. Noting the California fires and my prayers and heart goes out to the situation. This is a time for us to shine where insurance should be following through on the commitments we've made to our policyholders and our fellow humans. And so hopefully that as we reflect back, we can stand proud that we were part of having that happen. So given all those factors in mind, we've decided on 2 work streams for the coming year. And one is an awareness and communication strategy, which is the slide that's in front of you. And it's really about promoting and making the insurance industry more visible, making the tools that we created last year, our day of action and in our resource for improving diversity and insurance, available to an to the world, to the industry, to specific organizations. So it's really leveraging all that work that went in to the last year's teams and work streams, and reusing it and re-leveraging it, because it's powerful, the information that's in there. So that is the first work stream, and figuring out how we do that. How do we leverage those resources? How do we get the word out? How do we partner with other organizations? Is that work stream is being led by Megan Bell, she had a conflict today, but she was part of the first round of work streams, and we'll be leading that. And if you're interested in getting involved in that work stream, reach out to me, put a note in the chat, send a follow-up note when you get the materials with the recording and slides after this meeting. So that's work stream number one. We're having our initial meeting in early February. We can get you the details. Even if you're not sure, if you have the time to be involved, sit in on the initial meeting. We have folks who I can give you an hour every other month, or other folks who can give you a bunch more time. And just having more people and insights involved and your networks available to what we're doing is a help for our efforts. So that's the first work stream, awareness and communication. If you could go to the second slide. The second slide is really about the power of us being together, working together, the leveraging what else is going on. We are going to have a focused effort on building partnerships with various organizations and entities who are in the insurance world, and leveraging those strengths. There are tools, there are events, there's opportunities. We're going to hear about mentorship and Resce in a minute. That is a natural organization for us to partner with. We have mentors and we have mentees in our universe that could be leverage the capabilities that the Resce organization has built. And it just makes sense to kind of expand those networks, leverage those strengths. And we're going to be working on putting together collateral and information, like one-pagers, to say, this is why, this is how we can leverage. So our second work stream is building a partnership community. And Michelle Raue, who you'll be hearing from in a minute, is leading that effort on behalf of women in insurance. So again, if you're interested in being involved, hearing more about it, we'll send the information about how to do that and when our initial meetings will be. And then finally, here's my contact information. And this, again, you're going to get the copy of the webinar, all the slides and so forth. So you can reach out if you're interested in either of these work streams, or just want to, spend some time getting to know myself or others on the team. Reach out to the STEM Connector email, or me personally at ladeutcher@gmail.com. Would love to meet and talk with you. The second thing I have a great opportunity to introduce is our pod community. So what's our pod community? First, we'd like to make sure we recognize STEM Connector. Margaret mentioned them in the initial comments. STEM Connector is our partner in crime, our partner in resources. They help us do so many of the things that we have done. They are providing Pod, which is an online community resource to the Women in Insurance Initiative for free. And it will provide opportunity to meet people, to highlight events, to create networking groups, to share information. And so we're doing a soft launch of the pod community for everyone who's on this call, others in your network. And again, you'll get information on how to join the pod community in the follow-up email. And there'll be a one-pager that'll give you some helpful hints. And let's see how we can use this to leverage all the great work that's going on in insurance, to leverage our own networks, to help each other, and just to move the ball forward on building this community that we're all part of. So that is my, those are my comments. Margaret, I'm tossing it back to you. I'm so excited for the panel
Yes, I am
discussion.
too. Laura, thank you so much. This is really gelling, everybody. We've been working, we've been putting the pieces together, and to me, it feels like this is our moment. 2025 is our moment. And Pod is really going to be exactly that, a place for our community, a place for us to elevate, to share, to make a difference. It's really easy to navigate. And I will say it is a soft launch. So if you do have some glitch with it, give us some grace, give us some feedback, but get out there and join us.
We'll
This
check
will
the
be
link. We'll check the link. They're showing that there's some error messages in there, but we'll
okay.
make sure that we
Yeah, well, thank
check
you.
the
And
link.
this is what it is. It's a soft launch. So we'll work with it. We'll get it right. Amy, we hope that everybody in Rise will take advantage of it. We really are excited. And so spread the word. And another thanks to STEM Connector. This is a gift. This is a gift for the industry. We've been needing this, we've been wanting this, and now we got it. So this is terrific. So let's use it and let's evangelize with it. As Laura said, this industry it's time for us to shine a light on insurance as a noble industry, as an exciting industry, as an industry that's making a difference, that's an anchor in the economy, where there is mission and service baked in. It's part of the very DNA of this ecosystem that we all are in. So it is our moment. And talking about a moment, we want to move to our fireside chat now with Amy and with Michelle. Again, another warm welcome. And I want to give them both an opportunity to introduce themselves a bit to you. I have seen them both in action, and they are influencers, they are inspirational, and they really believe with their head and their heart in what we are all doing collectively. And so, Amy, I'm going to start with you. Warm welcome. Give us a little bit of an introduction. And in the introduction for both you and Michelle, would you share with us one of your favorite mentoring moments? Something that's kind of stood out for you as either a mentee or a mentor? And Amy, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I'm very happy to be here today. The Women in Insurance Initiative is great. I love to partner with Rise with you all. And for those that don't know me, a little bit of my background, I got into the insurance industry only like 8 or so years ago. And like a lot of people fell into it. I was with a legal tech company that pivoted into the insurance industry. And I remember showing up and just being amazed at the opportunity, at all of the different companies and, the investment that goes on here, and all the technology, and thinking, wow, if more people could see this, I mean, this is where I want to build my career, but if more people could see this, I bet they'd want to build their career here too. So fast forward, I ended up starting Rise and then switch companies. So I actually have a full-time role outside of Rise. This is my passion project, but I work for Gallagher Bassett. I set up our carrier partnership. So I love working in the industry, and I love helping support others in their career in the insurance industry. And just a quick little thing about Rise, if you don't know about Rise, we're an insurance community that's all dedicated to helping early career professionals through their careers. We also help attract new people to insurance, students. We have scholarships and mentorship program that we'll talk about today.
That is great, Amy. And do you have a favorite
Oh, a
mentoring
favorite
moment?
mentoring moment? There have been so many. I have so many memorable mentors. I think it ranges everything from when I went to my first professional conference, asking a mentor what to wear and then changing. And then, to today where I have like sort of these mini micro mentorship moments all the time, going into a board meeting or whatever I'm doing. So I don't know that there's one in particular. I've had I don't know, maybe 100 mentors at this point.
Love that. Thank you. Well, warm welcome. Michelle, over to you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. This is really an honor. And I am also like to say that I am a advisor for Rise, so I'm very supportive of that organization and its wonderful ability to start mentorships and get that moving. I've been in the industry a little bit longer than Amy. I'm probably pushing 35 years. So I've been around and then, kind of jumped out of the traditional insurance space and went to Lyft for a while to kind of set up a claims organization over there. So it's been really interesting for me to be able to see all of the things that insurance touches that we don't really always think about and how those different worlds meet. But I'm currently the chief claim and transformation officer at Preferred Mutual, North regional company up in the Northeast. I'm sitting in New York State right now, but I live in Tennessee. And probably my favorite mentor I have gotten, I think I'm going to be on my like fifth or sixth mentor through Rise this coming cohort. But so they've been really wonderful opportunities and something that wasn't available to me when I was young and in the industry and trying to, even reach out to women or anybody to get a mentorship. So that the ability to have that has been amazing. But we did a reverse mentorship one time where I had a younger person, Emma Roloff, talk to me about her. She's out there, and if you don't follow her on LinkedIn, you should, or TikTok, because she's doing wonderful things in insurance. But I asked her, how do you do this? And can you teach an old lady your tricks? And so now, if you follow me on LinkedIn, I've kind of launched out into that arena thanks to Emma. So that was a really good opportunity to be kind of micro mentored in that space from a reverse standpoint.
Now, I love that example, Michelle, and Emma does terrific. And this is what we do. We learn from each other. We lift from each other. And we should shout you out, Michelle. You were the Rise Mentor of the Year in 2024. So
Thank you.
we're honored to have your leadership and your wisdom here. So I'm going to start out with dessert. So I'm going to tell everybody, you've heard that expression, life is short, start with dessert. We're going to start with the dessert. So when we were getting ready to talk about our themes and our topics and everything we wanted to cover, we got to, at the end, the taboo topics, right? The taboo topics that are out there that mentees, mentors, they're not sure how to handle, they're not sure how to ask the questions. So let's start with the taboo topics. Let's start there because we're real. And these are the topics that we want to hear about. And I'll throw it out. What do you wear to the cocktail event? How do you make sure that you get the check at the dinner when you're the only woman at the table? What do you do when you're coming back to the office and you've just had your baby 12 weeks ago? What do you do? What do you wear? How do you function? Right? So we've been there. All of us have been there at the different stages and phases. And sometimes it's lonely. It doesn't have to be, right? So you've heard it. Michelle, I'm going to start with you. The taboo topic. Taboo topics. How do we tackle them? What should we be ready for? What can we do to make them not taboo?
Yeah, I think I'll start with this one because I recently did a post on LinkedIn that kind of went viral, and I had so many people reach out to me and want to have conversations, and I consider that like a mentor opportunity, right? They're kind of reaching out for that micro mentorship on that topic, and it was about ageism, and it was about when you get to a certain age, and ageism comes on both ends. So I'm not dismissing the fact that younger women and even men face the same problems when they don't think they have enough experience. But for those of us who have reached my ripe age, if we have to enter the marketplace or for a position or something like that, at the age we are, it gets really, really difficult. And I had so many people reach out that wouldn't say anything on the post because they just feel like it's not a topic that they can talk about or admit, which was really amazing to me. I don't know why we think that we can't talk about these topics, but it was really nice to be able to have conversations with people who are, experiencing and going through the same thing. And then, the mother pieces. I've had a lot of people say you've navigated your way through this, industry as a woman in a man's world with kids. And at one point I was a single mom. How did you do that? How did you put your family life and work together? So, but there's nothing that should be taboo. We should be able to talk about everything kind of openly.
Yeah. That, and having that voice and that safe place is, it's a gift. It really is. Amy, I had the pleasure of having you on a panel, and our topic was ageism. We were at Business Women to Watch, and ageism, it's all the spectrum, right? It's the beginning of the career, it's the end of the career, it's the middle of the career. You have some really interesting perspectives there. Could you share some of those?
Sure. I mean, it definitely exists. I think that we find out that we're too young and then till you're too old. And there's like not this sweet spot in there. Like, I think there may be for some of our male counterparts. As we, as an industry, start to get more women into the C-suite and into the decision-making rooms, I think that these topics will become less taboo. But for now, here we are at a Women's Initiative webinar talking about some of the topics that I see as one of the biggest requests that I get on the side in our mentorship program is from younger women who are looking to get coached, either because they're trying to plan a family and they don't know how to navigate when to tell their company and all of that, or how to go back, or because of something related to ageism. So those are the two big ones that will, have somebody ask, like, can you pair me with someone who can help me with this specific thing? So it shouldn't be taboo anymore. I'm glad we're talking about it. In relation to ageism, I mean, I think all of us have faced it on one side or the other, but I think I shared this story at Women to Watch. I remember being early in my career, and I was managing a pretty large team, and we had a meeting with a client. I walked in with one of my people, and the person reached right past me to shake the guy behind me's hand. So I do remember that. I think it's just the assumptions that have been made that are moving forward, and hopefully the leaders that are all on this call that are watching, that we're going to change this, and we're going to show that, create this equality and this inclusion in the workplace. And then I also had spoken with someone who is a friend of mine, and she's facing ageism on the other side. And she's, like, oh, I'm not going to get promoted into this role because I'm over X age, and people at my company, like, women won't get promoted. And I'm like, how can that actually be a thing? But hearing it over and over again, I know that we do need to talk about this so that we can figure out ways to move forward.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Amy. I mean, it's part of the fabric, it's even out in the media. And, many of you, like me, saw Demi Moore get her award. 62 years old, had never been recognized by her industry after 45 years. And it was her moment. And good for her, and good for all of us. I mean, I think this making things normal, being able to talk about it, motherhood, women have babies. Yes, we do. We have babies. This is real, right? And all of the pieces, but finding a way to be intentional about it, to make it normal. I think my take on this is, if we get comfortable with it, the men are going to be comfortable with it. We've got to be comfortable with each other. And that's where it starts, being able to have that safe place to have the conversation, whether it's about breastfeeding, or it's about a hemline or a neckline, or do I wear pink? Can I wear pink?
I can go first, I guess. I mean, I think that it takes, it's like a if you see it, say it thing. We need to stop being silent when we recognize these things. And maybe it's like that more senior female who's already gone through it. If it happens in front of her, she needs to stand up for that person and say that, point it out. Because I think that a lot of times we shy away from that, or we wait until another moment to bring it up, and maybe it should have been brought out right then. But I also think back to the mentor thing. It's about having the availability of the younger generation to talk to some of us, and like, how did you do it? And because I just recently had a conversation with one person that reached out to me, and she's like, you're so bold. You seem so bold. How did you get that way? And I honestly said, it's through years of that kind of experience, and you finally just, your skin gets so thick that you realize, hey, nothing changes until you start saying something. And so I think that it's twofold. We all need to say something when we see it, and we need to be willing and able to talk to this younger generation. We always have, Amy will tell you this, we always have more mentees sign up with the RISE program than we have mentors. And we're struggling at the end to get people to volunteer to be the mentors for these folks. We need for that, more experienced generation to step up and say, I have some value I can give to these folks. So, just giving a voice to it in all those areas, I think will help.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree with Michelle.
And there's some great things in the chat too. So we'll try to capture all that. But yes, Amy, your perspectives, and reverse mentoring, we brought that up, but I think that's really real. Just having those real dialogues, I think that maybe will help. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Mentorship. I think that just hearing that someone else went through something similar helps. So telling your story, maybe even just getting some of these topics out there. I think I saw somebody mention social media, like, I was just thinking, like, let's put an article out. I'm coming back from maternity leave. What do I need to know in the workplace? Like, let's just start talking about it, because sharing the stories are really powerful when you hear that other people have gone through it. Serena Masio is a keynote at the Rise Gala this last year, and I forget how many children, but it was more than 4 that she had. And she is just this tiny little powerhouse that of a woman that I look up to so much. And she just tells all these stories of how she made it through. And it's so inspirational to hear that, to know that it can be done. So definitely that. And then with the reverse mentorship, I mean, everyone can learn something. So, and times change. So the reverse mentorship, I think, is fantastic. And so if you're thinking about, oh, I don't know if I have the time to mentor, well, you're not just giving, you're going to get something too out of it.
It's really, it's so true. And I think, this is woman to woman, but let's talk about the men too, because I think that many of us, myself included, have had tremendous male mentors. And if you've never had a male mentor, I'm going to tell everyone, get one. They will tell you things that maybe a woman wouldn't tell you. They have a perspective that we need to hear. And one of my favorite mentoring moment was when I was mentored by a male CEO, and he told me, Margaret, you did not win this engagement because you never said I. All you said was we. You said we. And I'm a we person. And my guess is many of you are we people too. I never said I. And that whole room of men listening to me say we, they thought I wasn't going to have accountability. They didn't think I was going to deliver. That's not me. That's not you. But I needed to own that. So what I try to give to all of my mentees and to anybody that'll listen to my story is to say, give yourself the power to say I. Say I and we, but a well-placed I will make a difference, and own it. I have passed this along to other women and men. Men say I all the time. Think about it. Give yourself permission to say I. It was the greatest gift that I got from a male mentor, and he knows who he is. And I thank him every day because it made a difference, right? You've got to find those moments and you got to hang on to them, and then you got to share them. You got to tell the story. And losing, like, hurts like hell. But you know what? You get through it and you learn something from it and you get to that next level. That's the power of mentorship. That's what we're talking about here. So we have a moment, everyone. We have a moment that we can help each other. We can lift each other. We can laugh together. We can pull each other up, but we got to keep lifting, right? We got to keep lifting. So we have some time, and I see the chat is really, really active. If there are some questions, we're in a webinar format, but if you raise your hand, we can unmute you and you can ask your question, because we have such rich, wonderful, influential, inspiring people in Michelle and Amy, and this is a little bit of a power hour. So let's open it up, and we would love to hear from you. So we'll try to manage this, and Kylie, if you can help us a little bit with this. But if we have any questions, or if you don't want to unmute and just want to put your question in the chat, let's take it that way. But any questions? Open mic time, everybody. Safe place. All right. I see Laura with a question. Thank you, Laura.
So if I was interested in getting involved in the RISE mentorship program, either as a mentor or as a mentee, can you tell me how to do that, Amy?
I'm so glad you asked, Laura. We will put a link in the chat. It's on the Rise Professionals website under mentorship. You can sign up. I think there's 2 weeks left still for applications, and you can fill out, what you're looking to get out of it. We do the whole pairing, and we'll kick it off next month.
As a follow-up question, can you give like a sense of time? So I'm sure people like, oh, I'm busy, I have too much to do. I guess a general sense of time and how it works, so we understand that.
Yep. So we do training for mentors, and it's only a 3-month program. So we run this every fall and spring. There's 6 meetings with guided questions and sort of like takeaway questions for the mentees to prep for the next time. So you don't really have to do anything. You mostly just show up with the person, and you've got the guided sessions. And it's only 3 months, so you can make it happen. You meet every 2 weeks. We also have a really nice mentorship Monday that we run the first Monday of each month of the program, where we bring in a guest speaker. We have a lot of tools and resources that you get through the program. And the cool thing is that it doesn't cost you anything. So you can just invest in your career, invest in yourself, or give back to the industry.
I love that. I love Mentorship Monday. That's a great way to start the week.
There's a question on how are you getting mentors?
It's all word of mouth. So we're spreading the word and things like this, let people know that we have the program. At the end of last time, I was kind of running around asking board members and people like, hey, Michelle, do you want to mentor again? Because I got a couple extras. We also have official partnerships with different groups too that funnel us mentors or mentees. We actually have students, the cohort of students that come through our program as well.
Maybe I throw out there, maybe the person didn't understand, but both at that link that they provided is both a sign up for the mentees and the mentors. So you can go in and select which one you want to be.
Yeah. And I think, Michelle, you said this, and I've said this, anytime someone asks me to be their mentor, I ask them to be my mentor too. I have learned so much from that reverse mentoring and getting that perspective. I mean, I always find I get more than I can ever give. And it's joyful, and it's fun, and it's a moment. What I love the 3-month idea because there's a beginning, middle, and end, but I also love micro mentoring. And we've said it a few times in this discussion. That is like a one-off. Like I get people coming to me micro mentoring all the time. Margaret, I have this great career opportunity. Margaret, can you take a look at my resume or help me be my green room, get me ready for my interview? Audrey, I see you're on the chat as well. I mean, that's micro mentoring. That's like taking a moment to get somebody ready so they can win. So they can feel comfortable, and they can get to that next level. That's a micro mentoring moment. I've done it on the train, I've done it on the plane, I've done it like sitting in the airport. We all have been there. You see somebody getting ready, going through notes, especially maybe somebody coming out of college, all suited up still. And it's fun to help them get ready. And then you get to hear the outcomes. So micro mentoring, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll throw out there that I just love when somebody takes the bold step and sends me a DM in LinkedIn and says, do you have a few minutes to talk to me about this or that? And it's just, it's such an honor to even have them think I am worth the time to help them with that. But just, to step outside of, I'm sure it was hard for them to take that first step and make the introduction, but I'm always super happy to chat with them.
We kind of take the micro mentoring and we make a fun activity out of it at Rise. We do a speed mentoring session. So you can kind of take like, here's my top 3 questions I really want to ask this, executive that would give me some perspective, and just little bite-sized pieces of advice. I think it matches well with our TikTok generation. Everyone wants real quick, give me something to take home and learn something real quick, fast. And joining a program or doing some of this micro mentoring is a lot easier than when I first approached my very first mentor. I took like a whole pitch on why she should be my mentor. And I was like, definitely had to work up the courage to do that. Like Michelle was saying, to be able to go in and say, this is why you should be my mentor. This is what I want to get out of it. The programs we have now, you take all that out of the way and you can just get right in there.
I love it. I love it. And,
Hey.
mentoring and networking go hand in hand. Like, think about it. You're
Yes.
making connections, you're building relationships. It's all an ecosystem again. So I see some really good questions in the chat, and one popped up about imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And do either of you face imposter syndrome when someone says, I want you to be my mentor? How do you find that voice and the courage to believe, right? That you know something and that you want to share it. Any ideas for the audience?
That's for Michelle.
I mean, yeah. Margaret, am a huge sufferer of imposter syndrome. I never think that anybody wants to hear what I have to say, or, I'm not smart enough to answer these questions. I just, I've suffered with that my whole life. And I don't know that you ever like completely overcome it, but the more I've been involved with, especially the Rise mentorship, and I love it. And if you're feeling that way, I'd suggest starting there, because it's a very structured mentorship, and it kind of has a path, and it leads through the questions. But there is no dumb answers. That's they want to hear what your perspective is, not that a correct answer. It's just, how did you navigate this and get through it? Because we're all where we are because we've been through that path, and that's just, you got to realize that it's not a right or wrong thing. It's they really value your opinion on how you got through some of those situations,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that you have gotten through them. So just step past that. I'm a huge fan of, you got to get, nothing happens till you're on the other side of your comfort zone. No growth happens, and step outside of it and say, I can do this. Let's do it. Because they really, they're not judging you like you're judging yourself.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I love that. It brings me to one of my favorite mentors. She always said, step into your power. And many of you have heard me say that. It's a mantra. It's my kids say it. My husband says it. My son sends me little, gifts, and he goes, step into your power, Mom. And Sandy Callahan taught me that years ago. Sandy, if you're out there, thank you. But it's stepping into your own power and having that courage, right? In your own soul, that you're valuable, and people do need to hear what you have to say. But it's stepping into the power, stepping into your comfort zone. It's that whole visual. Give yourself that visual. And the self-talk is so important. Like, if the one voice in your head is saying, oh, you're not worthy, the other voice has to say, oh, yes, you are. You step into that power right now, Margaret Ann. You do it.
Yeah, we
That's
have
good.
a lot of people that will ask me, or I'll approach them and ask them to mentor, and they're like, oh, what do I have to offer? Why would somebody want to listen to me? And it's the experience, it's the stories that you have of the path that you've gone on, and everyone has something to contribute. You'll never know, like, maybe it's that one thing that happened with your boss 10 years ago, and you're able to recall it, and it helps the person who's going through a similar situation. So you never know what it'll be. You don't have to know everything to be a mentor. Actually, it's better if you don't think you do.
If you don't, that is really good. So I'm going to do a book plug. We do want Michelle to write a book. So Michelle, I'm going to put that out there. We want Michelle to write a book. Yay. But I just finished Ina Gartner's memoir, Be Ready When the Luck Happens. And one of my favorite things was a mentoring moment that she had when she won an award. And she got up and she thanked everybody and said how lucky she had been. And everything good happened to her because she was lucky. And she said she sat down at Oprah's table, and Oprah chided her and said, no, you weren't lucky. You worked hard. You're smart. You sacrificed. You did all that. So every other woman who got up on the podium after Ina said, Ina was not lucky. Ina was smart. Ina worked hard. They stood up and they lifted her up. That was so powerful. You know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get. And so that's a great read. It'll be almost as good as Michelle's book. So Another question, Amy, in the chat, they want to know how speed mentoring works. Tanya wants to know how speed mentoring.
Oh, that's a very specific session that we run at our leadership summit, and we've done it different ways, but essentially you've got a mentor that will move tables, or you'll move to go see a mentor every 5 minutes or 7 minutes or however we run it that year. And you get a chance to meet with like 5 or 6 different mentors. I am not the person who came up with that originally. I think a very long time ago, there was something in my hometown where they had like mentors lined up, and every 5 minutes would switch, and there'd be like a really long line behind one person or however they had it worked. We don't do it like that anymore, but it just gives you a chance to meet with different people, and you can have a short list of who do you really want to see and have some questions prepared. But also the reverse mentorship workshop that Margaret mentioned, we run that at a lot of different conferences. Where Resce will partner up and we'll show up, like the one I saw you at, Margaret, Connected Claims. They had us run a reverse mentorship workshop. So you can follow us and see where we'll be next, so you can participate in one.
Yeah, I remember when this whole speed networking and then speed mentoring came up, was all a take on speed dating.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day. I mean, it all kind of spawned from that, and people still do speed dating, and you know, we're doing all of this. It really does work. You can cover a lot of ground in 5 minutes. You can cover a lot of ground. So I see so many comments in the chat. We're going to try to cover them all. We really want to get the engagement and to keep the energy going. I want to give you, Michelle and Amy, a chance to give us your last words of wisdom, anything that's going to carry us forward in this brave new year and National Mentoring Month, anything you want to share with our wonderful WII community. And Michelle, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll just say it again. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Just, start somewhere. And if it's, if you're a little fearful of signing up to be a mentor, do it anyway. And you will be rewarded tenfold. It's unbelievable. I have so many relationships now. You said it's really a networking thing. I've kept all of the mentees that I've had. We still have regular calls, talk. They're super smart individuals, and I get a lot more from them than I think they get from me. But it's, they're now part of my network, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to expand your community and meet new people in new areas. I don't ever specify, like, I don't say I just want to have claims folks or people that I feel like I know the line of business they're in. I just say I'm open to whatever. And I've had females, I've had males, and I've had them in tech. I've had some claims people. So, also don't limit yourself because you don't think that you have something to offer, like a male mentee or a and also step back. Sometimes, even at our age, we could sign up to be the mentee, right? I mean, if you're at this level and you want to get here, do a mentorship that way. But just be open and not closed-minded to it.
Good. Love that. Amy.
Yeah, agree with everything Michelle said. Michelle and I met because I just randomly approached her at a conference and put myself out there, and she was kind enough to talk to me for more than a minute. So you never know what you'll get. But also, just two sides of the coin. If you have been dealing with any of like the taboo topics that we had discussed and you're looking for a mentor, be intentional, write down what it is that you want to get out of the relationship, and then reach out and definitely either find somebody who you think has dealt with that, or come to the Resce mentorship program, ask for something specific. And then if you have been through things and you have a way to give back, I mean, look at the people around you and find out where you can help call out issues and say something and bring people along with you. We're not going to change things overnight, but we can change it together if everyone is on the same page and we all want to make things better for the next generations.
I love that. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your head. Thank you for saying yes. Everybody, let this be the year of yes. Let's say yes to each other. Let's say yes in our own head. Let's give ourselves that affirmation, that power, that positivity. That's what's going to get us through this. And we want to pour ourselves into others. And that's what we're all about here at WII. So get the most out of life. It's not how much you keep for yourself, but it's how much you pour into others. So that's what we did for this last hour. And it was fun. Have a bit of fun. Be safe out there. Please know that you've got a community. We welcome you. Get involved. Our chat was so exciting, and I didn't even get to see all of it. We will follow up. We will send you slides. Sign up. Say yes. Be well, everybody. Namaste. And let's have a great 2025. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Laura, for being a part of this. And thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you, STEM Connector. Ted Wells, we love you. Take care, everybody. Have a great year.